Hello. So this is the first video in a series I'm going to be doing about writing portfolios. So in this series, I'm going to cover elements of the writing portfolio as a student. So what kinds of things might be expected of you and what kinds of strategies you want to bring to composing a writing portfolio. I'm going to discuss elements of teaching and grading portfolios, the process of teaching portfolios. I'm also going to discuss teaching portfolios as a distinct object. We'll talk about creative writing portfolios, electronic portfolios. So we're going to cover a lot of different stuff. And I'm drawing for this series both from Nadra Reynolds and Rich Rice's book, Portfolio Teaching, as well as my own experience having taught in two different portfolio systems in different universities. So this first video is going to basically tackle the question, what is a portfolio? So basically, when we talk about a writing portfolio, what we're talking about is a collection of pieces of writing or of artifacts, we might say. Some of them may not be writing, actually. Some of them, depending on the particular format and the options that your instructor gives you, some of them may be images, posters, videos, podcasts, audio recordings, whatever it is. But generally for composition classes, writing classes, we're mostly probably looking at written documents. So a portfolio is a collection of written documents produced typically for a single course, typically over a semester or sometimes a 2-semester long period if you've got an extended course cycle like that, put together within a reflective structure that's meant for either you as the creator of that portfolio or for external assessment. So there's a lot there. I'll maybe a more concise version of this. If I can give you a more concise version, it's a collection of documents that you have created with reflection involved, intended either for your personal development or for external assessment. So that's going to be our working definition of a portfolio. As we'll see over this series, there's a number of different kinds of portfolios, a number of different approaches to portfolio writing, portfolio teaching, portfolio assessment. But one of the things that we see consistently across different types of portfolios, and this is a thing that Reynolds and Rice emphasize continually throughout their book, 3 central components of a portfolio are choice, variety, and reflection. So what they mean by choice is typically you as a writer will make decisions about what to include. I have taught in a portfolio system where every major piece of writing students produced in the course had to be included in the portfolio. Debatably, that's kind of not a real portfolio system because it eliminates a lot of the opportunity for choice. I've also taught in a portfolio system where students included a certain number of, or at least a certain number of the total projects they produce. So you might write 6 major projects over the course of the semester and you have to include at least 4 of them. So that idea of choice allows you as the portfolio creator to determine what story you want this portfolio to tell. And we'll talk more about the stories portfolios can tell in a subsequent video. But do you want this to demonstrate your growth as a writer? Do you want this to demonstrate the range of your skills, whatever it is? By selecting or by choosing different pieces, by selecting different pieces that get included in your portfolio, you can shape the impression that your readers have of you. So that's choice. The second one is variety. Typically within a portfolio, like if you were in a writing class and they just said produce a writing portfolio at the end of the semester and that was it, like you wouldn't necessarily want to give them 5 rhetorical analysis essays, all doing similar things but analyzing different texts. It wouldn't be a very good demonstration of your abilities. So as you're making choices about what gets incorporated into the portfolio, one of the things that you want to think about is what different kinds of skills, what different kinds of writing abilities, what different kinds of writing contexts, purposes, audiences do I want to demonstrate that I can successfully address? Again, this is about making choices, but one of the things that you want to guide the choices in a writing portfolio is thinking about variation. And so that may include a number of different approaches, not only like I'm going to include a personal narrative and a rhetorical evaluation and a research-based essay. That may also include I'm going to incorporate 4 full-length essays and 2 short writes, or I'm going to incorporate an email that I think is really demonstrative of a particular skill of mine. I'm going to incorporate a video project that I've done, whatever it is. So thinking about different kinds of things, different lengths, different styles, different approaches, etc., is going to help give the reader of that portfolio a good sense of the breadth of your ability. And then the third key thing for Reynolds and Rice is reflection, or self-reflection, self-assessment sometimes. And they use a term here that I think is really, really central to why this is important. And that term is metacognition. So basically, the reflection component of a portfolio should be you thinking and looking back on how you write, what you're writing in this portfolio tells people about you as a writer, as a thinker, as a scholar, as an artist, whatever it is. What does your work actually demonstrate? So we will actually, I'll have a video later on in this series about reflection and how to do that well with a portfolio. I'll also come back to how to teach reflection in some of the subsequent videos. But one of the things you want to make sure that you're doing with your portfolio is thinking about what you as a writer have done and why. What does your writing say about you? Not just in the sense of I can achieve X task, but how do you achieve X task? How have you grown as a writer, maybe? What skills, what are your strongest writing skills? What challenges have you overcome? What weaknesses do you still have, or what issues do you still face, etc., etc.? So all of these things are metacognition. That is awareness of how you learn or have learned. And that's a really, really important component of portfolios because, again, what a portfolio tries to do is present a holistic view of you as a writer. And so your reflection, your self-assessment, your metacognition gives you the opportunity to shape the story that your reader gets by looking at the various pieces that you've chosen.